Good evening, everyone, and welcome to In the Know 360, show hosted by me, Annette, the warm-hearted warrior diva. This show gives you insights on the journeys of high-achieving business owners, artists, authors, athletes, everyone who share with our audience the importance of building a strong community of like-minded individuals on the road to greater success. Today's show is a collaboration between NNO 360 and Dr. Chad Singleton. Woo, woo, woo.
All right. What's going on, guys? What's going on? Happy to be here.
All right. Well, just to give you a little tidbit, and we're going to dive into his journey. Dr. Chad Singleton is a scientist, everyone, and he's an award-nominated horror author, comic book creator, voice actor, podcaster. The list goes on. A screenwriter. He's from Atlanta, ATL, Atlanta,
ATL.
Georgia. Plus, guess what? He's a Leo like me. Happy early birthday to you,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Chad Singleton.
Oh man,
And,
look, thank you.
and he's also part of BLC, Black Lion and Cubs, y'all. Shout out to Hotep. All right. So let's get this party started. We ready?
Yeah. And first of all, thank you so much for that amazing introduction. I don't think I've ever gotten an introduction like that, so I appreciate it. And also one thing I do want to say. I know we're going to be talking about myself a lot tonight, but I first of all wanted to start off by giving you your flowers, Annette. You are so awesome in what you do for BLC, the opportunities that you've put forth for myself and my colleague, everybody else in BLC. We all appreciate you, man. So thank you for everything that you do. You are awesome sauce,
Aw.
amazing, all of it. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much, sir. And glad that you're on the show. And that's my job is to, well, I say job because I love doing this. I love talking. I'm a talker. So I can,
Same,
we,
same,
we
same,
can go all night talking about things.
same. 100%.
Well, besides all the wonderful things that I've listed, who is Dr. Chad Singleton?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. I'm just a fun loving person. I'm very driven into doing the things that I'm passionate about. As far as the doctoral route of it all, that's one of the things that I'm driven about right now. I'm currently towards the end of my doctorate. I'm like right there. Thank you so much. The only thing that's stopping me is getting this doctoral paper in, and then we're good to go. But me, I'm just a lover of all things. Scientist, an artist. I guess you could say a jack of all trades, obviously from everything that I sent you. But yeah, so that's basically it. I'm just a relaxed kind of guy, and I love a little bit of everything.
Okay, that's what's up. Look, I love horror films too, but
Yeah.
uh, I might need a teddy bear with me if I was to watch a horror flick these days. I don't know. I think Freddy Krueger and Poltergeist. Oh, Exorcist really got me.
The
I think
Exorcist.
as a little kid. And do you remember Children's of the Corn or Children of the Corn?
Okay, so here's the thing about that. Yes. So the thing that a lot of people, I guess, feel about horror writers and horror creators, we're scared of horror too. Like Children of the Corn and stuff like that. I remember when I first saw The Exorcist, I was terrified. Like, and yes, so I was late to the game because, of course, when I was a little kid, some stuff I just didn't want to watch. So Children of the Corn, that creeped me out. I don't want to see that. I actually saw I actually saw that movie for the first time last year during Halloween. So
What?
yeah, saw that movie for the first time then. Yep.
Oh my
Loved
gosh.
it. It was cornier than I thought it was gonna be, but it's that Stephen King corniness. I loved it. It
Right.
was dope.
Right. And
Mhm.
why do our parents let us watch it at a young age? Because I mean, here I am just watching, Exorcist and chewed
Mm-hmm.
another corn at a young age,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. So, can you share your journey?
Mm-hmm.
Your perspective in voice acting
Sure.
and what inspired you to pursue this career, and you can
Sure.
add on because I mean you're a jack of all trades, so whatever you want to talk about.
Sure, yeah. So we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but one of the interesting things about my voiceover journey was just like the writing and stuff with Hotep and comic books and all that. It was a big snowball effect, right? Um, I always like to say that whenever somebody asks, that voice acting has always been like a closeted passion of mine. I never really talked about it, didn't. I wasn't the type of person that, did voices for people growing up and stuff like that. It might have come out in spurts and people were like, oh, you're pretty good. That voice you did was kind of dope or something like that. And I would never do it again. But it was weird because I started a podcast with me and my friends from college. My friends, Demetrius, Marcus, shout out to you guys, and my brother Joshua. This is the Square Roundtable podcast. And we started it kind of out of boredom during the pandemic. And a lot of the guests that we talked to were surrounded about things that we were passionate about. So we talked to comic book creators, we talked to other STEM creators, and then we talked to a lot of voice actors, a ton of voice actors. And the thing that's pretty cool was I feel like I kind of cheated in a way because through my podcast, I got a master class for what you need to expect when getting into voiceover, right?
Yeah.
So I talked to some of the greats, some of my heroes like Erica Schroeder. She voices Luffy from if you're a
Yeah.
fan of One Piece.
Yes.
Vic Mignogna voices Broly from Dragon Ball Z, Richard Epcar.
Wow.
So all of these type of people I was able to interview. And in that way, I kind of guess I got that creative part of me satisfied. Because up until that point, I wasn't really doing anything besides my podcast in the creative realm. Everything was just STEM and science related, which is also my passion as well. But at that point in time, I kind of told myself that, okay, this is enough. Being able to live through my podcast guests and see what they're doing and enjoy that. I wasn't really going to try to go for that myself. So the kind of, I guess, starting point for when I jumped out there, and she's going to hate me for doing this, but I got to give credit where credit is due. Because of my podcast, the Square Roundtable podcast, I was able to intermingle and meet a lot of people along the way, including you guys, Hotep. And I met this awesome woman. She's a voice actor herself. Her name is Kira Brown. A lot of her fans and followers might know her as Roomful of Blurs. That is her platform. And she's also a co-host on a podcast called Blurred's Eye View. And and we became close friends. She was so cool. We just, became really, really close friends, and we would talk about nerdy stuff every single day. And at one point, the conversation came up because they had a podcast guest on their show. It was a guy who is a fantastic writer. I'm gonna give him a shout out to. His name is Josh Evans, and he has a conglomerate of shorts and audio plays and sci-fi anime audio productions. And his group is called High Form Family, and Talk Story to Me. And he was hiring voice actors for his one of his shows. It was a audio production of a superhero anime project, and it was called Triumphant. And me and Kira, Roomful of Blurs, we were talking, and she was like, yeah, I think I'm going to go for this project because I really like voiceover. And I might have mentioned something about voiceover, and she was like, you need to do it too. And I was like, nah, no, I'm not. That's not about to happen. And this woman, she's amazing. She bothered me and pestered me every day. Every single day. She's like, are you going to do you're going to do the audition yet? I'm like, no. You going to do the audition yet? No, 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 no. Every single day. So it was the last day before
Mhm.
auditions were due. And she's like, yo, if you do not submit this audition, I'm going to come to Atlanta and beat you up. Like, that's just what it's going to be. And I'm like, okay, all right, okay, okay. So I stopped being a baby. I went ahead and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I auditioned
Uh-huh.
for 3 characters for his project, for Josh Evans' project Triumphant,
Uh-huh.
and I ended up booking 2 of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
See?
yeah. I mean, and and it's been a snowball effect ever since then. It's been like a drug. It's like it gives me energy. It makes me excited. It's awakened that part of me that lay
Mhm.
dormant for all of those years. And
Mm.
big shout out to my guys at the Score Roundtable podcast, because if it wasn't for us having that platform, I wouldn't
Mm.
have had that class of voice actors coming. And big shout out to Room Full of Blurs, Kira Brown. If it wasn't for
Yeah.
her, I wouldn't have had that push to do it. And super huge shout out to Josh Evans and the my family and my team at High Form Entertainment and Talk Story to me for giving me my first shot at voiceover.
Wow.
So yeah, so without those guys, I wouldn't be here talking to you. So that's it. That's the story of how I got into voiceover. Yeah.
Wow, that's an amazing story. Yeah, and shout out to everyone you've listed. It's funny how people can see the gem in you, right? There's like different hidden talents, and and you're like,
It's crazy.
no, I'm good, I'm good. Yeah,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
you just never
Mhm.
know.
You,
Wow,
ne- you
that's a
never you never know. Mhm.
yeah, and especially having a platform to discuss, just you're just like when you start something like, I mean, I didn't think I was going to be interviewing people on my platform. It
Mm,
was therapy. Honestly, I started with NNO 360 as a
mhm.
therapeutic thing because when I was in the military, I did 24 years of service, and during COVID-19, I needed an outlet. Um, and so here I am. So
And it just and once again, it's that snowball, right? Where you just like
yeah,
you yeah, you just keep going with it. And look where you are now, right?
right.
Awesome. Awesome.
So, what do you find most rewarding about being a voice actor, writer, a podcast scientist, all the good stuff? Uh, can you hear me? I think you froze. Okay, there you are.
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you. I heard the question. Can am I back now? We good?
Okay, you're back. You're good.
Okay. Okay, cool, cool. So yeah, your question was what was it? What do I find more like fulfilling about all of those areas?
Yes, like
Okay.
most rewarding. Yeah.
Most rewarding. Okay. So when it comes to my artistic endeavors like writing or voiceover, it's just that I think it's that innate feeling when you get to create something, and that feeling of like a hard day's work done, because it's like when you're in the middle of it, you can't visualize what the end is going to look like, so when I'm doing these voiceovers, most of the time the animation isn't even done yet. It's
Right.
just a bunch of lines on the paper. The world most of the time hasn't even been created yet. So all I really have to work
Mhm.
on is what the casting director is giving me, what my lines are, maybe a sketch of my character. So just
Mhm.
the feeling of really seeing, because for me it's like a magic trick. It really is, because it's like in a we're we have I'm me in my own space in my own house, and in
Right.
projects there's people all over the world recording these lines in their own space, and then when we see the finished product, it's a cartoon of multiple people standing in the same place actually interacting with one another. And it's just like, it blows my mind that, I used to grow up watching stuff like that and just being amazed by it, watching guys like Bill Farmer and all of these, amazing voice actors for Disney and all these my favorite
Mhm.
cartoons. So being able to do that, and see the finished product is just, that's so fulfilling for me in that space. And it's kind of the same for me with writing as well.
Mhm.
Once again, right, a situation where I never thought I would have a book like out in the wild. You know what I mean? It was just
Right.
something that kind of snowballed out of control. So with
Mm.
with writing, yeah, with writing, I attribute a lot of, I guess, my what's the best way to put my confidence as a writer, in two people. Number one is my mother, because she really pushed me. She was the person that pushed me to really try to put something out there. And one of my good friends, Marcus, who is
Mm.
also a fantastic writer in his own right. For years, he would tell me that, hey, man, you need to put something on paper. You need to put something on paper. And
Right.
it was kind of like that voiceover thing, right? So where I was like, I don't think I'm okay with being I was perfectly fine with being a fan. I was like, for people that do that, I was like, for people that do that, that's fantastic. But
Right.
I'm okay. I'm okay with being a fan of it. So when once again, when you're writing these words down on a paper, you can't visualize what the end of that is going to look like.
Mhm.
So to be able to hold a physical manifestation of what I've done, physical representation of what I've done, I can smell the pages, I can feel the words on the page, like, oh my gosh, like there's no better feeling than that. And even on top of that, to in the reception that I've gotten just from my work, my
Mhm.
friends, people that I don't know, uh reading reviews online of people saying, oh, this was really cool, like, oh, this was nice, or I really like your stuff. That uh validation, really, it's just like, wow, it's electric. It's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
like, yeah, because it's like, I like my stuff, but the fact that I've put something out here that other people can enjoy. and
Mhm.
and i and I always say with my writing, I I'm not really big on like politics, and I'm not big on putting a message across. My thing is, I love fiction, I love horror, and I have a
Mhm.
fantastic job while I'm writing it. And if my reader can enjoy it, and I can put a smile on their face and they've had a good time, I've done my
Mhm.
job and I'm happy with that. And the fact that I've gotten that reception and people are saying, hey, we love your stuff, that just, I mean, that's overflows my heart. That's a lot.
Mhm.
It's amazing. No better feeling in the world. Um, and so we're just going through the list now. So with
Right.
so
So
with
let me
STEM,
think.
so with science and with STEM, um, a lot of what I've done, I really want to attribute to. We talked about it last night, but I have a a nonprofit that I'm a part of called BSci, the Black Science Coalition and Institute. And that was started by a good friend of mine who's also in a doctoral program about to finish up right now. His name is Jordan Chapman. So big shout out to Jordan Chapman and everybody else from BSci. Love you guys. I was in a weird space when I graduated from college, when I got my first undergraduate degree.
Mhm.
So when I graduated, and that's a whole other story for another day. That's a whole other thing. But when I graduated, I felt kind of it, I felt kind of alone, honestly, because I
Hmm.
graduated. We went kind of like the next year and a half, almost 2 years later, we went right into the pandemic. Uh,
Hmm.
and the one thing that I had worked a job also to where I was the only black guy in the room. I worked, so a lot of my background is multidisciplinary. I Two of my undergraduate degrees are in biology, one of them's in chemistry.
Wow.
So I worked for a while in a chemical lab, and in
Mm-hmm.
my laboratory, I was the only black guy, and I felt so alone. I really did, and at that time on my social media, I have a lot of friends in STEM right now on my Instagram, because at that time, anybody that was, you know, minority in STEM, I was following you because I wanted desperately to have that community. I wanted to feel like
Hmm.
I belonged in a way,
Hmm.
because I just didn't really see it. And at that time, I came across BSci, that nonprofit, and I met with Jordan. They were looking for a science communication officer, and
Okay.
one of the things that my background is in also that I'm very passionate about is science communication. We talked about that as well, in the way to kind of uh, a way to show and break down very complex ideas to different communities to make it understandable for them. So that's something that I was passionate about, and they were looking for just that.
Hmm.
So I had a chat with those guys, tried out for that position, applied for it, and I was able to get it. And and it's just been a whirlwind ever since then with those guys. We've been able to uh, do projects where we helped explain COVID-19 and break down different mitigation strategies to African American communities. We've been able to go around and talk to middle school kids about how wonderful STEM is, and
Hmm.
bring ourselves to the forefront and show
Right.
people that scientists are in all shapes and colors and sizes and
Right.
backgrounds and all of that good stuff. And yeah, and I've been able to do all of that and really branch out into other places because of the Black Science Coalition and Institute. So, and once again, it's just a feeling that's indescribable. Like, there's, as far as what I thought I would be able to do myself, growing up, there's just certain career paths and certain things that I didn't think were possible with a STEM
Hmm.
degree. And because of a few key people that came along, number one, guys like Jordan, um,
Hmm.
some of the professors that I had were at the school where I got my degree at, that really helped me and were fantastic mentors to me along the way. It just put me in a different place, and now I feel like I have that brotherhood. I feel like I have a place. uh,
Right.
Programs like BSI has given me a place where I belong, and as a black man in STEM, as a black man in chemistry, as a
Hmm.
black man in public health. So yeah, it's fantastic. So.
Wow. Can you give the audience an example of what you had to educate the constituents or the public during
Mhm.
COVID?
Yeah, sure. So let's see. Like a good example would be, I would say, different like what's a good example that I did? Let's see. Okay, like masking, for example. Like
Okay.
what's the importance of masking? Because there was a lot of things going on in our community, and it got really political with different people saying that, okay, well, I'm not going to wear my mask, and and it's really not like that. The biggest thing is when you're talking about the way COVID-19 spreads,
Hmm.
it's just like us talking right now, right? It's just like a cough or a
Right.
sneeze. When something comes out of your mouth, it disperses through the air, so,
Right.
and
Yeah.
you have these. Yeah, and you have these same particles that can get so, and that's the way things spread by getting into your nasal cavities, really getting
Mhm,
into anything that I would call a mucous membrane, right?
mhm.
So anything like your nose, your mouth, your eyes, all of these are problematic areas that are mucous
Right,
membrane. So guess what? If you have something that's an aerosol that spreads through the air,
right,
what do we need to do? We need to cover up our mucous membranes, which are what? So since I just told you about
right.
mucous membranes, so what on your face is a mucous membrane?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, obviously your mouth, your oral, your nasal cavity, your nose, I mean, eyes, and then if you want to get, well, I'm not going to talk about Ebola, but that's another subject.
Right, right.
But yeah, I
So
mean, your ears, I mean, anything that with a surface opening.
so easily put, right?
Yeah,
So if you know that, okay, this disease is spread by pathogens getting into our mucous membrane, so we need to cover
right.
those up so that
Mhm.
doesn't happen. So that's the easiest way to put it. And when you
Yeah,
explain that to people, because folks are just
yeah,
like they get so angry about things, just like you just break it down to what actually is going on. And then it's like, oh, okay, wow. So you mean to tell me if I cover up my mouth and my nose, then I'm just that much more protected? Yeah, you are. So that's as
yeah,
simple as
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I guess I can speak freely now because I'm not a part of the service, but I have my
Yeah.
whole we could go on and on about it, but I have my whole soapbox about it. But
Hmm.
definitely, yes. I mean, it definitely helps with even TB, tuberculosis.
Yep.
Um, you definitely want to wear a mask around that.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so oh, that's good. Yeah, when COVID happened, the United States Surgeon General was teaching folks how to wear the mask, and then that was my old boss. Well, not
Right.
not
Right.
not directly, but
Right.
like
Right. Right.
in amongst things. But yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah.
It,
So
it, it, yeah, it's interesting. It really is, because like it's really just about at the end of the day understanding the world around you. Like everything has a reason that's and more than likely easily explainable. It's like you look in certain areas of around that time, you look in certain areas of Georgia, certain
right,
urban areas, and you wonder why, like, wow, okay, so and that's another thing that we would talk about. Okay, so why is there an uptick of COVID-19 in this specific area? Well, okay, so let's look at our work conditions. You talked about tuberculosis. Like there's areas
right,
where people are getting really sick, and why is that?
yeah,
Because they're in close encounters with each other. So I have to go to a job every day to where I'm standing 2 inches away from somebody, and I can't afford not to go to work. So I have to go to work, and I'm gonna get sick because there's no way for me to stand at a 6 or 10 foot distance away from somebody else at this cubicle that I'm at, right?
right,
So you look in these certain areas where these jobs are associated with, or another great example, you look in certain places where there's food deserts, right? So it's just
right.
like a lot of the reason why COVID-19 affected so many people is because of other underlying health issues that they
Yeah,
had,
I
right?
was gonna about to say, yeah, chronic health
Yeah.
conditions, right?
Chronic health conditions. So
Yeah,
you look at, once again, let's bring it back to looking at some of these areas in Georgia, or some of these low socioeconomic areas. Well, what's around us?
yeah,
Okay, well, I see a McDonald's, I see a Checkers, I might even see
right.
a Dairy Queen, but do I see a Whole Foods? Do I
No,
see a community garden?
no,
No. Okay. So something's wrong here, right? So
right.
do I see an uptick of a lot of people in this community that might have an underlying condition of obesity?
Yeah,
Possibly, right? So you just have to look at all of these things as a public health professional like yourself. I was like, you already know a lot of these things, and you have to see, okay, well, what is the evidence, or what is the health determinant
yeah,
that's
right,
making this disease possible in this community? So
right.
yeah.
Yeah, it was very interesting. On one of my deployments, I was deployed to the Bureau of Prisons, and
Hmm.
I was the only epidemiologist there, and I had to figure out, okay, how is COVID getting into the facility? I mean, it's kind of like a no brainer, like duh, because the staff members are bringing. But anyway, I don't want to. Oops, I might have to chop this up, but it's live
Yeah.
now, so.
it's, look, it's already out there now, so we might as well just speak freely. It is what it is at this point. So,
Oops.
yeah,
But it's
oopsie.
all
Right.
good. So, can you describe, moving back to the whole voice acting fun role, can you
Sure.
describe the process of your preparation and voice acting?
Sure. Yeah, I can definitely do this. So, first I start by drinking tea, right? No, I don't drink tea. I don't drink
Oh,
tea. So I'll be honest with you, right? So with voiceover,
that was
I
fun. That
should
was hilarious. That was funny.
I could actually do a lot better when it comes to my preparation for characters. Because I'll be honest, this is like a day in the life of me getting ready to record for a character. Right? I get off of
Okay.
work, I'm already tired, and I rush
Okay.
down to my home studio, and I'm like, okay, I've already waited to the last minute to turn this in, so let's try to get all this in one take because I'm just so busy.
Oh
Um,
man.
so but I'll be honest, like what the biggest thing that helps me, and I think as I grow, I will get more of a routine
Right.
because truly, I've been super blessed to have a lot of credits and to have a lot of people that I've worked for, but it's really only been over slightly over a year, right? So
Okay.
so I'm still putting together like a better studio. I'm trying to get better microphones and trying to have better habits. But the biggest thing that I'll do is like I will have like a catchphrase or something for a character, right? So let's just say I'm playing a character, I don't know, that might have a African accent or a British accent. I might remember a line or have like a line to kind of snap me into the mind of that character. Because of
Oh.
course, yeah, because the one thing that's that a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to voiceover is like yes, part of it is like doing like a silly voice or whatever. That's fine. But if you have to hold it, so like you can be able to do a silly high pitched voice all day, or maybe you can do a African accent or a British accent as a party trick. But the crazy part comes in is when you have to hold that same accent for an hour session.
Woo-wee.
So yeah, that's because recently I just voiced a African soldier for a project that'll be coming out pretty soon, and yeah, I had to hold that accent doing so many different things, yelling, crying, being happy, being sad, all the gamut of emotions that I'm doing and not my own voice. I'm doing it in somebody else's or some other
Mm.
accent or dialect. So yeah, so something that helps me get into that space is like a trigger word or like a trigger
Mm.
phrase or something that'll help
Huh.
me get into it. So yeah, that's basically my process. It's kind of lame. I know it's not the best, but that's pretty much it. Yeah.
I can imagine you saying, "Oh, what kind of tea should I drink?" or something. Can you do a little something with the tea? Maybe talking about the tea,
What's what you mean like
or say like Grey Poupon, right? Give an example of your trigger like
like
phrase.
a trigger,
Yeah,
goodness,
whatever.
put me on the spot like
Come
a
on, you can do
trigger
it.
phrase.
At least I'm not asking you to,
So
beatbox.
true. So I have a character. Um one thing I do like is that a lot of people hire me for villain characters, and I can't couldn't be the nicest person ever, but people love to hire me for villains. And there's this one guy who is my favorite. He's a little green haired boy, and his name
Uh-huh.
is Zephyrus. And
Okay.
yeah, and he's in one of the anime projects that I'm doing called Exoplanet Z.
Okay.
and one of his lines that he does, he says something along the lines of, "I am the bringer of death." So,
Mm.
and he has like kind of a grainy voice, almost jokery, but like right
Okay.
before you get to doing. So whenever I'm like getting ready to do lines of his, I'll be like, okay, let me get into it, and I'll be like, "I am the bringer of death." You know? So I,
Wow, you did that pretty well.
yeah, it's like, something crazy. Yeah, I'm Zephyrus, the bringer of death, and saying that will help me get into his character. So yeah,
Wow, that's pretty dope.
thank you.
That actually kind of scared me a little bit.
That's good because that's what he's meant to do. He's like the most evilest character in Exoplanet Z. He's a really bad guy. He's pretty awful. So yeah.
Wow. Oh my goodness, this is too funny. So, with that being said, Zephyrus, um, what what challenges have you encountered in your voice acting career, and how did you overcome them?
Okay, yeah. So there was a point in my career where there was just some roles that I just couldn't get. And I think it was a little bit because of just just being a little naive because I'm just getting
Mhm.
started. And a part of it was a big part of it too is the microphones that you use and all the tools that you
Oh,
need to. So for example, right, when I recorded my first project, which
mhm.
was Triumphant for Josh Evans, I used my iPhone. And I think
Oh,
and I remember I think who when was that? I think it was the interview I think did he talk about using? I'm trying to remember if Brandon didn't. I think Brandon might have mentioned something about using his phone too, because I think
yeah,
yeah. So
he did.
and that yeah. So that's a thing you can do. So for anybody out there on your iPhone, there's something called voice notes, and
Mhm.
if you just need to record something quickly, you can just turn on voice notes and speak into the little microphone on your phone, and it'll record something. And so at the time,
Mhm.
I didn't really have a microphone to use, but I quickly wanted to get in a voiceover. So I recorded something on voice notes and turned it in, and it worked for a while. But certain
Mhm.
projects, they were just like, I was getting passed over for, and I knew I was like, and I would hear who got picked for the project, and I'm like, man, it's like I know I have the talent to do it, but the problem
Right.
was my setup wasn't correct. I didn't have a great setup. So what I
Mhm.
used for that, I went and I spent a little bread. I had to let go of some coins. So I got what I use now. I have a
Mhm.
microphone. It is a Audio Technica 2020
Mm.
USB mic, and I got a recording box. So it's a little
Oh,
recording box, and
right.
it has noise canceling foam in there, and
Okay.
yeah, and most of my projects that you hear, like the one you posted with Magnus Jakuda, the one you did for the
Yeah.
promotional content, those lines I recorded in that little box. And yeah, and that
Wow.
helped me. Yeah, and that helped me get a lot more roles. And then with my technique too, because what I used to do, I would get right up on the microphone,
Right.
and I wouldn't use a pop filter.
Okay.
So and I'm sure you know with like pop
Yeah.
filter, yeah, it helps. So anytime before that, when I would say something with a P in it or a T in it, it would tear that microphone up. So
Oh wow.
so that would stop me from getting projects. So I just had to study a little bit. And once again, I consulted, and she's like my voiceover Jedi master, Kira Brown, Room Full of Blurs. She's gonna kill me for this, but she's amazing and she's awesome. I love her so much, and she let me know certain things that I needed. She
Right.
let me know the microphone that I needed, all of that good stuff. So I would ask,
Right.
and I got what I needed eventually to be able to get those different roles. And I think I'm at that point now too, where
Mhm.
I'm feeling that, okay, I know I can get these certain types of roles now, but I want to go even higher than that.
Right.
One of the things I want to do is to get into mainstream anime. So,
Mm.
and I'm gonna need a better setup for that. So I'm getting ready to get me a new setup.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, you're going mainstream, so
I'm
definitely need
trying.
to upgrade. There you go.
I'm
No,
trying.
no, no trying here.
Right.
We're doing it. You're there.
Hey, thank you, thank you.
um, are there any like besides the projects that you've already mentioned, are
Mhm.
there any particular voice acting projects or roles that are memorable or like
Mm.
impactful to you?
Yes. I will say, as far as memorable voice acting roles, so I mentioned earlier where I had a podcast
Hmm.
where all mostly what we did was interview voice acting guests. I mean,
Right.
legends in the voice acting
Wow.
industry, guys like Richard Epcar, like you would recognize him from Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
What's another one? Kingdom Hearts.
Uh
All of
huh.
these different projects, Vic Mignogna, once again, Dragon Ball Z, all of these different characters, Chuck Huber, all of these guys. And one project in particular that I actually got super emotional behind because it was a full circle moment. This is
Mm,
project that I was in called Cosmic Dawn. I don't even think I've
wow.
ever I don't even think I've ever posted about it or talked about it because I just got so much stuff going on. But there's a project I'm in called Cosmic Dawn,
Uh huh.
and it's basically a medieval sci-fi project,
Right.
and it's filled with monsters and demons and knights that fight
Wow.
them and all. It's crazy. And big shout out to the guys over at Cosmic Dawn. And in that
Mm,
project, I have had the honor of voice acting next to my heroes. So
mm,
in that same project, you got Vic Mignogna, who's I keep mentioning him because he's my favorite voice actor of all time. Like that
mm,
is my guy. Like I was honored to interview him, and it was a full circle moment to have been in the same project with him. And same with Chuck Huber,
mm.
another great guy from Dragon Ball Z. Once again, I was in that project with him too. And Richard Epcar,
Oh,
I was in that project with him. So and this was early in my voice acting career. This was like
mm,
7 months in. So to be such a green newbie, and to have had
mhm,
the opportunity to voice next to my literal heroes, like, I
right.
mean, the people I grew up watching, it was, it's still unbelievable to me. It's like, wow, like I could have been done. I could have stopped voice acting then.
Right. Wow. Yeah,
I would have been
that's
perfect, and I'd have been perfectly fine. Yeah. So,
well, since you said that, what kept you going?
oh, what kept me going? It was the hunger for it. I wanted more. I wanted that,
Okay.
is that feeling. You want it again. I was just like, because the funny thing about voice acting also, it's not like, a thing to where and number one, the money. It's not like you get paid constantly. It's like you do a great job, you send in your lines, you get
Right.
a check back, and that's the end of that. no more check, no more money. So you,
Right.
you get paid for the studio session and that's it. So I'm like, I kind of want, that was some good money. I think I want some more of that money. So I just got back into it. And plus it's just so fun. It's so much fun, man, to play, because everything is so serious. I go to
Yeah.
my job and I deal with people and crazy stuff going on in the world. So
Yeah.
it's really cool, to just chill out for an hour and voice a goofy alien, you know what I mean? And just be silly. That's just it. Just be silly, and then on top of that, I get to get paid for it. It's really cool. It's awesome.
Oh man, when you said an alien, I was thinking of what do you call it in Supergirl? Was Martian the
Martian
what?
Manhunter?
Yeah, Martian.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought about him. I'm like, you know,
I
and
love Martian
I
Manhunter.
could tell, yeah, I could totally like see you doing something like that.
That's a good one. I
That's
would
funny. I
I
like
would
him.
love to voice. Yeah, I would love to voice Martian Manhunter. He just never came up. Yeah, I got a project coming up where I'm voicing some DC characters. They're gonna kill me if I talk about it. Can't talk
Oops.
about it yet, but
Okay.
uh, but uh
Anyway.
but I'm working with Brandon. Brandon's in that project with me, so
Mhm.
super duper excited about that. But yeah, but not mention Martian Manhunter yet. No, not yet.
Yeah, that would be so dope.
Yeah, I would enjoy that.
Mm. So, how do you approach your character development? I know that you talked about trigger phases, or excuse me, phrases. Yeah, there's phases
Mhm.
to this too, but
Oh, it's a lot of faces.
obviously,
It is. It really is. Yeah.
and bringing the characters to life
Yes.
through your voice. Um, Besides the technicality of things, what do you do? Is there like a trick that you do? Like for instance, okay, I give an example. I used to be in choir, so
Hmm.
my choir teacher would say, "Okay, you have to like form your lips a certain way so that your the words can come out clear. If it's an O, like oh, or something of that sort." Do you have like a technique when you when I guess when you speak or when you voice act the character?
Um. So as far as a particular technique, I mean, you have your things that you do, like with screaming. I might anything where I'm screaming or yelling, I kind of back up from the mic so I don't totally blow the mic out. But I
Right.
think, and when I think of like technique, for instance, I'll give you an example of a character I just voiced. So um the promotional you did was of a project by Wise Acre Comics
Mm-hmm.
and Godhood Comics. Those guys are awesome, and they have an animation out right now. A superhero series based on their comic book series called Magnus Jakuta. And in that series, I've been blessed and fortunate enough to once again voice another bad guy. I'm voicing the main big bad of that series. His name is Lord Enoch, and
Mm-hmm.
he has an African accent. And when I originally, so I auditioned for that project. I auditioned for two different characters, him included, and one other guy. And when I was reading for that character, kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, and they did such a beautiful job of giving a very detailed description of that character. And when I was reading for him, I was trying to tether it to something, right? So
Hmm.
whenever I have a character, yeah, even if the character would not ever exist in this world, I have to find a way to tether it to something.
Right.
So, and which was kind of a weird trick because I he has an African accent, but the person that I tethered him to doesn't. So the character, I kind of tethered him to another character. Are you familiar with Breaking Bad at all?
Yes.
Okay.
I
Some
watched
people aren't.
all of it. Yeah.
Some
Oh
people
well.
aren't. Some people aren't. So I tethered him. I was trying to think, okay, who is this guy? Because the way he reads, he's a cunning, calculated,
Mm-hmm.
he, and he has all of this anger and all of this tension boiling under the surface, but you wouldn't see it in his
Right.
face. I'm like, who is this guy? And I'm like, he's Gus. He's Gus Fring.
Right.
I'm
Right.
like, he's completely. And when and in the description of how the line reads, they say that I should talk slowly through the lines and
Hmm.
really breathe through the lines. And I'm like, oh, that's just Gus. That's just Gus Fring. That's all this is. And
Right.
I've watched Breaking Bad. I've watched Better Call Saul. I've seen all of it. And Gus is my
Hmm.
guy. Even then the actor Giancarlo Esposito, like I've seen him in everything he's in. So that's who I tethered that character to, even in my mind. I don't know
Hmm.
if when they created him, that's who they thought, but for me, it wasn't so much the voice, because I knew the
Right.
voice was going to be in an African accent, but it was
Hmm.
the rhythm in which he
Gotcha.
speaks. So that's
Huh.
kind of so that's kind of what I used for that character. I wanted to make sure that the rhythm was the
Mhm.
rhythm of somebody that was a cunning person, somebody that had a plan, somebody
Mhm.
that had this tension to him, and he was
Right.
kind of scary, and he was,
Yeah.
so it wasn't scary in the same way that the Joker is scary, but it's scary in the way that a guy like Gus Fring would be,
Right.
that calm and collected kind of storm, and you're like, when is the
Right.
storm going to happen? So that kind of thing. And I do that for a lot of my characters. I try to tether whoever I'm reading for into
Hmm.
something that I understand and something that I can be like, oh, okay, I know what that is. Let me try to show that in my
Mhm.
performance. So yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting how you tether that to that. I, to the typical person outside of the whole voice character thing, I would think, okay, what voice actor or what, African character should I mimic? But you brought it to a whole different scientific level.
Uh,
I mean, here we go with
thank
the
you.
scientist, right?
Well,
I
hey.
mean, I'm like, okay, yeah, calculated. He taught. He was a teacher. Like all these things,
Mhm.
that I mean, business guy, like how he just went about doing things is really mind-boggling, but it's scary at the same time. But yeah.
And it's scary at the same time. Yeah, and that's the other part of and like you were saying, right? With the vowel sounds and you singing to be able to project certain notes.
Right.
With voice acting, it's a whole it's similar and not. So it's just like yes, you have to be able to maybe voice match, right? Or do a silly voice, okay? And
Mhm.
then you have to be able to hold that for
Mhm.
a long period of time. And then depending on who the character is, just like how you speak, you have a certain rhythm to how you speak. I have a certain
Oh.
rhythm to how I speak. Everybody has that. So what I try to figure out, especially if I'm like voice matching somebody or it's a character that already exists somewhere, or
Okay.
if I'm tethering a new character to somebody exists, I'm like, what is that rhythm to how
Right.
they speak, and how can I either mimic that or try to use that as a jump off point for what I'm trying to do. So yeah.
Got me intrigued, Chad, Dr. Singleton.
Thank
So,
you. Thank
so
you. Thank
please, please, can we elaborate a little bit about my level of speaking or my the terminology that you use? Like if I
you.
was
Mhm.
to, I hear different things, but I won't tell you what yet until you tell me what character I guess my voice could maybe sound like.
When I as far as a character, I can't
Yeah.
really. Let me see. As far as a character, your voice sounds like. I can't really put me on the spot. I can't really place it. Um,
Uh-oh.
and I'm not like the biggest like expert in this, but the biggest thing is just like, um, and I definitely will not try to mimic your voice, but because my voice is too deep. But my whole point is just saying that like for you, if somebody was to do that, you have a certain pitch to your voice.
Hmm.
You like the way you laugh. You have a certain rhythm to the way that you laugh. You have a certain rhythm to the way that you speak regularly, and whatever your inflections are. There's a rhythm in there. It's a math to it. And
Hmm.
if I was to really study that, I'd have to figure that out. And it's not a thing where I'm doing equations. It's almost like an innate thing. It's just like, okay, I can hear it. It's almost like are you a musician at all? You said you're a singer, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I never really
Okay.
said to talk
Eh,
about it, but I do sing a little something, and I used to play the clarinet as well. So yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, great. So clarinet is a great example. So like imagine playing something by ear and being able to pick it up, right? So can you do that, or are you like a person that's strictly just notes, just reading? Do you play by ear too?
I mean, I usually just go with the flow, but yeah, I can read
Okay.
sheet music too.
Okay, great. So it's literally the same kind of muscle. It's that same muscle. It's like, okay, I hear the way this character talks, and I'm gonna try to, mimic that. And if it sounds right in my ear, then it
Hmm.
should sound right when I project it. So it's that
Hmm.
same muscle, the same muscle people use for playing music by ear or trying to figure out, okay, like if you're in a band with somebody, you're like, what key is that in? What key is that in? And they're like, it's in blah 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 blah. Same thing. That's why a lot of the times, if you can sing and play an instrument, you probably fare pretty well voice acting. A lot of the same muscles are used. If more often than not, if you see a voice actor, they can probably also sing because that same muscle is used. I know what the pitch is, I know what the rhythm is, I know what the note is, I can hit it. So it's just like it's the same exact muscle.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
That's very I get a lot of different feedback with my voice.
Mm.
So I've done some stories like romance stories,
Oh,
and
nice.
yeah, I wouldn't say a Danielle Still, but kind of closely related to it.
Got you.
But
Okay.
but
Okay.
yeah, very very interesting.
Yeah.
Um, in your opinion, what are the key qualities or skills that make you a successful voice actor?
Yeah. So key qualities and skills. So it was a lot of just a combination of what I mentioned earlier. You have to be so to be in the realm of voice acting. Uh, Acting is a big part of it, right?
Yeah.
So let's go back through the things I mentioned earlier. Okay, being able to um, voice match, being able to hold a tonality or a dialect for a long period of
Mhm.
time, being able to read, like so um and being able to act is another part of it. That's like the last thing, if I'm reading something to you, or if I'm portraying a character like that might be dying, or portraying a character that's happy, or
Mhm.
anything in the realm of emotions, is it
Mhm.
believable? Do you believe me? If I am I reading something like oh wow, I'm so happy, I just passed my test today. Did you believe me there? Did that sound
You weren't
believable?
that happy.
No, no. But
Right?
if I no, you don't believe that. But if I say, "Oh my gosh, I just passed my test. I'm so excited."
Right, right, right.
That's more
Yeah,
believable. So,
true.
acting is a big part of it.
Oh,
And
okay.
and I'll say the last thing, being persistent, man, because I think
Oh, yeah.
um one thing that I don't like, I would
Mhm,
say, about a lot of stuff in any community really, but
mhm,
in voiceover I see it a little bit where it's just like
mhm.
a sort of you can't sit with us mentality a little bit in some
Hmm,
places. And I believe truly anybody can do it. You just have to be persistent. You just have to
uh-huh,
not give up, and you will find your area, whether that is uh, video games, whether that is audiobooks, whether it's whatever. Just try it all. If you're somebody that's interested in voiceover and wants to get into it, just do it. Just do it. Just like my friend told me, just try it out, and be persistent with it. You might hear a lot of no's, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Just keep going and keep moving forward. And that's another great thing about voiceover. You got to have that tough skin and that persistence. So yeah. Uh-oh. Oh, I think you're frozen on me. Uh-oh. Annette, let me see if she texted me. See if she shot me a text. No connection. Oh gosh, it's the am I in airplane mode? Ugh.
okay, I don't know what happened.
Oh, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Because I was
Sorry.
wondering if you would texted me or something. I'm like, okay. I thought you
Uh,
might have.
uh, no. Um, yeah, I went to get some tea. No, I'm kidding.
Ow.
That was I should put like a commercial. Um, my apologies. I don't
No,
know
you're good.
technology. Well, you know how it is podcasting. So
Technology is going to do what it does. But no, you're fine. You're
right,
perfectly
right.
fine.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get the tea, but we're back.
We back. We back.
Okay, my fault.
You're
So
good.
I believe we were talking about the qualities, and you're saying just to tie your acting skills
Hmm.
towards voice acting. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So that was it. Just
Okay.
like I said, it's a combination of things, but another thing is just believability. Can you make somebody believe what you're saying? That's all. And
Right.
and my last little tidbit about that was just being persistent, because
Yeah.
a lot of people, including myself, often get discouraged because
Right.
you're so happy, you're so excited about this thing, you're like, oh, this character, I love him, he's so perfect for me. And then you send the audition out there, and then you're waiting and
Right.
waiting, and you never hear back, and then you see the character being voiced by somebody else, and that makes you feel horrible. But it's okay. Like, you just
That's
have to,
right.
it happens. It's a part of the game. Or you get
Right.
a notification, and the creator says,
Yeah.
you weren't right for this part, but you'll get them next time. You'll get a lot of those. That's going to
Yeah.
happen. But if you're persistent and you just realize that,
Right.
hey, that just wasn't your blessing, and you don't take it too
Yeah.
hard, you have to have
Right.
yeah, you got to have a tough skin in
Hmm.
voiceover, in anything really, in the artistic
Yeah.
space. yeah, you got to have tough skin. So as long as you got that, I think you're good to go. So I would urge anybody that wants to do it, jump out
Mhm.
there and do it. See what happens.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's a blessing in disguise too, because it might be something else greater that's in
There
store
you
for
go.
you. So that's
There
the way
you
I
go.
look at it.
Man, you don't know how many times I've auditioned for a character that I even the project, right? The project I just told you about with
Right.
Magnus Jakuta. The guy that I got, I wasn't even really trying to get him. I was like, because I think in that audition, we had to I think two people was we can only audition for two people. So I was just
Okay.
like, I really wanted this other character who literally dies in episode one, right?
Oh
And I was just
wow.
yeah, and I was just like, oh, he looks so cool. I want him. And then I was like, okay, I think I'm auditioning for this other guy too, even though I'm probably not gonna get that because nah, it's not gonna happen. So I didn't get the character I wanted, but I got something so much better. So and that's
Right.
happened so many times. So yeah.
Yeah. It's just really interesting life, you just don't know what your calling really is because you're
Mm-mm.
just going through life and you're like, "Oh, voice acting. Okay.
Right.
Why
Let's
not?"
right. Let's do it. Whatever.
um how do you stay versatile and adaptable in your voice acting work, especially working across all different genres and mediums?
Sure. So I there's one thing that I tried not to do early. I don't kind of pigeonhole myself into one thing. I see it happening so much to where people are like, if I'm not voicing in an anime, I don't want to do it. It's like, no,
Mm,
no. Put yourself out there. Spread that
yeah.
love around, man. Spread it around. Try to get into as many areas as possible. It's just like like I was talking to our good friend Brandon last week,
Right.
because he's got this big hulking voice, and he's really good at doing narrations, right?
Yeah.
So I don't personally think I have a great narration voice, but guess what? I got contacted some weeks ago to do a narration for somebody, and I was like, and I didn't say, "Oh no, that's not my thing. I'm not going to do it." I said, "Yeah, sure, why not? I've never done one before, but this could be fun, and I might do it." And enjoy it and keep doing
Right.
it and keep so that's the biggest thing that keeps me so versatile. I don't say no. I try my best to
Right.
um I try my best to dive into whatever, whenever, because it's all number one. It's all like going to the gym and tuning my instrument. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
it's all great practice, and you just never know like what's gonna
Right.
work out or what's gonna hit or what's gonna be the next thing. So yeah, I'm constantly trying different forms of voice acting. I've done one of the earliest projects that I did, which was very cool. I mean, I couldn't have written that, I couldn't have uh, projected that I would do it, but somebody hired me to voice act in it was a video game, an educational video game
Hmm.
for graduate for med students
Oh
while
wow.
they're doing their yeah it was a gastrointestinal game where I played a
Hmm.
patient, and in the project it would be like a multiple choice test, and the med student, they would pick what my condition was based on
Hmm.
the evidence I gave them. So I would say something along the lines of, yeah, I went out Friday night and I had a couple of drinks with my buddies, but all of a sudden my stomach started hurting, and things like that. And then
Right.
from my description, you have to figure out what my condition is. That was
Hmm.
so cool. Like I didn't, think I would
Yeah.
ever right. I didn't think I would ever do something like that. But when the opportunity presented itself, I was like, cool, yeah, let's do this. Like,
Right.
let's go. So yeah, I just always keep myself available for new things. That's all.
Wow, that is pretty cool. I never thought about that. Hmm.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah. You just never know.
You never
And
know.
I was thinking about, I don't know why, I was thinking about the deodorant commercial.
Which one?
When you were talking about the gym, the guy,
Oh, yeah.
Old Spice.
Old Spice. Yeah, yeah.
I
No,
can
that
totally see you and Brian doing the Old Spice. Uh, Old Spice need
wow.
to sponsor us. Uh,
For real. Go ahead, Old Spice. Come on, give us some of
right?
that. Give us some of that money.
Give us something nice. Uh,
Hmm.
so, name three voice actors. I know you've named a few, but name three that you want to collaborate with.
Sure, sure. And before I get into that, like two people that I hope I continue to collaborate with are, our boys, Brandon and Josh. Those
Oh
guys
yeah,
who are amazing voice actors in their own right. But and I've already had the opportunity to voice act with those guys and also write scripts for them to read. So I hope I get to do that continuously in the future. I love those guys. But as far as voice actors that I would love to work with that I haven't had the opportunity to work with yet, I would say a big one would be one of my favorites, Zeno Robinson. He's a
mhm.
really, really great voice actor. A guy I haven't had the chance to meet yet. I would love to interview him on my podcast. He's voiced so many cool characters that I enjoy. Um,
Mhm.
let's see, who else would I like to work with? I would say Keith David. Keith David. I mean, come
Okay.
on. Spawn. Yeah. I
Right,
mean, you gotta
right.
love Spawn. Yeah, that's my guy. Yeah. Keith David. I would absolutely love to work with him. And let's see, who else would be a top runner for somebody I would like to work with? Hmm. I would say let's see. What's another good one? I would say somebody that I interviewed. Uh, what's her name? I would say Alan Lee. Alan Lee is a really good guy.
Okay.
I had the honor of interviewing him on my podcast. He was great then. We interviewed him like a couple years ago, and he's done nothing but blow up since then. From voicing in
Wow.
Mortal Kombat to all kind of stuff. Like big shout out, Alan, you're awesome, dude. I would love the chance to work with you and have some fun, man. So yeah.
That is so cool.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
so, besides Brandon and Josh, what was your best collaboration?
Oh gosh, my best club. Your questions, you are putting me on the spot. My good.
Hey,
I'm
that's what I'm here for.
I'm glad you said besides Brandon and Josh, because that would have been hard to pick between
Right?
my guys. Love those guys, man. Okay, so let's see. And you gotta get Josh on here too, man. You
Oh
gotta interview
yes.
Josh.
Oh yeah. He's next.
Cool, cool.
Josh, if you're listening, you're next.
Awesome, awesome. So okay. So my favorite collaboration voiceover wise, let me see. My goodness, well, okay. Yeah, so my favorite collaboration would have to be with my with my voiceover Jedi Master, Miss Kira Brown, man. My first ever project together. She literally voiced a planet. This is bad A, how kick A that she is, that she voiced a whole
Wow.
freaking planet. Like this girl is
A
she's amazing,
planet.
man. Yes, a whole planet. We did so big shout out to Kira. Big shout out to my Bird's Eye View fam. Big shout out to Josh Evans. We
Right.
one of my first projects, we worked on a project together
Hmm.
called Triumphant,
Uh-huh.
and the icing on top of the cake of me getting those roles was just being able to voice act next to, once again, another person that I looked up to, somebody that really took me by the hand and kind of showed me how to navigate in this
Hmm.
industry. So Oh man, and she crushed it. She crushed it. She crushed it. So yeah, I would say besides, working with my guys, yeah, Kira was a blast working with her. Anytime I
Wow.
get to, and we do so many projects together. I think
Mhm.
we're on like project number 3 or 4 that we voiced together. So yeah, anytime I get to voice act with her and also my guy Chris, who has the
Uh,
so besides Brandon, the other guy that has like the dopest like deep baritone voice is this guy named Chris, that I've worked in a couple of projects with him too. Same projects that I voiced with Kira.
right.
He's super duper awesome. He voiced Batman in a project with me. And literally I was Robin, right? So he was Batman and I was Robin in the same exact project. So
Wow.
yeah, so yeah, working with those guys, yeah, that was definitely my favorite collaboration. Anytime we get to do it,
That is so cool. Wow, Batman and Robin.
yeah,
Uh,
right.
you know what? Okay, I'm gonna pause on this because
Hmm.
my son he kept telling me, "Well, let's go see this, Batman with what is his name? See, I'm
Robert
drawing a
Pattinson.
yes, yes. Why would like not remember his name? I'm a huge Twilight fan. Okay,
Ah,
for those that
okay.
don't look, I read all the books. I even read the book that leaked out. But
Mm-mm.
I know this is bad, but so I'm thinking Edward, right? In my head, right? Like, nah, Batman, him, Batman. So I just couldn't like take the
You-
vampire,
yeah, yeah, it's tough. Yeah,
Edward to like direct it to Batman.
it's
And
weird.
so yeah, it's like night and day. But I went and saw it and I was like,
He did great, right? He did great.
OMG.
Hmm.
Yeah.
He did
So
great.
yeah, it's just funny because you get so engrossed with the character that
Right.
that's all you see.
Yep.
But he was like, "Come on, mom, try this. Not your
Just try
Twilight."
it.
But
Right.
I'm like,
Just
"Oh,
try
okay,
it.
fine."
Hmm.
Anyway, that just brought me back to the whole Batman thing. But
Hmm.
can you tell us about any ongoing training, professional development that helps you engage with your voice acting skills? Like anything in the works or that you've done?
You said oncoming like training.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
training. Yeah.
Got you. So yeah, as far as training, I have gone to one formal training as far as voice acting, and that was about like five months ago.
Right.
And I need to do more. I would love to go to more classes because a lot of my colleagues go to. I mean, they're so
Mm,
well ingrained with the career path and everything that goes along with it. And I think as I grow,
right.
I'm gonna do a lot more formal classes too,
Yeah.
because those really help. I mean,
Yeah.
you even me, you think you get it, I'm like, oh,
Right.
I know what I'm doing, I got this. But then it's just like you step into an arena, with a juggernaut, like, and you're just like, oh wait, I don't think I know how to do this. So or you just take a class and you're like, wow, okay, I didn't think of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the experience that I had when I took that course some months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So as for right now, I don't necessarily have too much training, but I have a lot of practice. I will say that, like me and my friends like Brandon, we collab a lot. If you look on
Uh-huh.
our social
Yeah.
media, we have videos performing together, and all of that is working out. It's hitting the gym. It's like playing around because it's just like, okay, this isn't for somebody that hired us to do it, it's just because we love to do it.
Right.
And you'll see Brandon, like, he'll test out a T'Challa voice, right? Or he'll test out Yeah, or he'll test out a Batman or a Galactus voice and me, and I'll test out a Joker voice or something. Just trying it to see, oh, can I do that? So that's kind of my way of getting some kind of practice in. But for now, and it's been working great. But for sure, as I think within the next year, I'm definitely going to be picking that up and getting into some more actual voiceover classes.
Okay, yeah, I do see you guys. I do my best to share,
You do amazing. You do amazing. Like that's why I had to give you your flowers when we first started, because you are every bit of a rock star and we love you
Aw.
for it. We appreciate you for it. So you're awesome. So thank
Well,
you, thank you,
thank you.
thank you.
I appreciate you guys too. And don't forget me, okay?
Oh,
I'm
no
just
way.
saying.
No way. No way. Like I said, we are forever tethered. Like I said, we work together with Black Lion and Cubs, and I didn't really get a chance to talk about that. But big shout out to Hotep too. I gotta give him
Right.
his flowers, man, for everything that I mean, every door that has been opened just because of running into that guy. I mean, I'm literally because can I kind of tell the story of how I met Hotep real quick? Like I would love to go.
Sure. I
Okay,
think you.
you said what?
Oh. Oh, okay. There you go. Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
okay. Yeah, so literally about to go to a convention next weekend and talk about voiceover to a room full of people, something that I never thought I was gonna ever do, because
Right.
I started working with Hotep with Black Lion and Cubs, and it's just been a really great experience. I remember once again, right, a situation to where I got in contact with him because I was friends with Blurred's Eye View, the guys from Blurred's Eye. um you still with me? You paused a little bit. Oh, I think she's gone. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. She went out again. She went out.
Okay. We're gonna get through this. Are you there?
You all right? Yeah, you good?
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna get through this. I swear.
No,
I
you're
don't,
good.
I don't know what's going on here. I think it's the stars. Maybe they're not aligned tonight. Shout out to Hotep, creator of Black Lion and Cubs, y'all.
Yeah, straight up, straight up. but no, you're good. You're good. But no, all I was going to say is, like, this is why I'm even meeting, with you, or had the contact with you in the first place, because through my friend Kira and Blurred's Eye View, I was able to follow Black Lion and Cubs on social media, right? And
Mhm.
he had so Hotep had put out a call, like a call for help, saying that
Right,
he was at the start of his anime and comic book series, and he needed
right.
people to help him out with that. And part of the thing was that he needed voice actors, right? So
Right.
I contacted him and I was like, hey, I do voices, can I, how can I help with the
Yeah.
project? And apparently Josh and Brandon, they had beat me to it already. So they were already there. So by the time I talked to him, he was just like, and the funny thing was he still wanted to talk to me, even though those positions were filled. He was like,
Right.
hey man, thanks for calling, but the positions, those are filled. But what else can you do? And I was like, well, I mean, what kind of positions are you talking about? And
Mhm.
he was saying that he was in desperate need for some writers that can help him write this short cartoon series, a companion series for
You're right.
Black Lion and Cubs. And I was like, at that time, and it's crazy how stuff just lines up. I had just published a children's book with my mother. Me and my mother and my siblings published a children's book together, and
Oh,
I had just really started doing my horror thing, but that wasn't published
right.
yet. So Hotep asked me, he was just like, oh, okay, so you're a writer, what do you have? And I told him I did a lot of horror. Then he was like, oh, okay, that's cool, we're not really doing too much with horror right now. He's blunt with it, he don't care.
Right.
He's like, yeah, we're not doing nothing with that right now. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, I did publish a children's book with my mom. It's called Daisy the Lazy Pony. And he was like, what? Children's book? He's like, are you really? I'm like, yeah. Well, he was like, well, what I'm working on is tailored towards children. It's
Mhm.
really a whole family type deal, but kids are a
Right.
big aspect of that. So do you mind writing something up for me just to kind of test and see where you're at? And if I like it,
Uh-huh.
then we can kind of move forward. And I was like, okay. So
Right.
I wrote him up something, and here I am today. Long story short,
Yeah.
I've gone from writing for that short series to actually writing the comic books to writing for
Right.
the actual main cartoon. So through that connection, I've become a writer of so many different
Mm.
venues that I never thought I would be a part of. Um,
No.
and yeah, so it's just great how that once again that snowball effect happened. And even with voiceover, I'll be voicing a character for Black Lion and Cubs pretty soon. And I'm
Mhm.
going to the convention next week that that he's gonna be interviewing me and asking me voiceover questions. So it's just really cool, how stuff happens. So definitely gotta shout him out, give him his flowers too, because like I said, it's a big deal, man. It means a lot that I'm able to work on this project together with him and be partners in this thing. And as he calls it, me and him as a writing team, it's that 1-2 punch. So I'm happy I'm able to do it. It's really cool.
Cool. Well, that's exciting.
It's awesome. It is.
So, what advice would you give aspiring voice actors who's just starting to get their feet wet in this industry?
Sure. I would say if as far as advice, don't be hard on yourself. you know don't worry about all of this going on, the fact that you auditioned for a character and you didn't get it, the fact that you might be getting a lot of no's are a part of the process.
That's
Okay,
right.
you might, yes, you might get lucky and on your first go round you get a yes. Fantastic. But you have to realize that no's are a part of the process. Somebody else getting the role is a part of the process. If
Right.
you really want to do this, and if you're in voiceover, that's because you love it. You're passionate about it. So just keep doing it. Like my the some of the best advice I've ever gotten from my parents. Put one foot in front of the other, and just keep trucking ahead, putting that one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be where you want to be. But it's going to take time. But at the end of the day, you just don't give up. Everything that I've mentioned today, everything that I've done, and that is in science, writing, voice acting, all of it. all of it was, it's not because I'm the best guy in the room. It's just because I didn't give up and I keep trying and I keep pushing forward and I don't take no for an answer. That's it.
I love it. I love it. Sounds like a Leo, y'all. Uh, so where do you find inspiration?
Where do I find inspiration?
Yes.
From my peers. I find inspiration from my peers. I was talking to one of my good friends the other day, and I was telling her about different characters that I write for my stories and how I never will run out of things to write about because the world that I live in is so
Mhm.
vivid and is so full of amazing people. So when I find something that I love about a person, or maybe a trait is as simple as your laugh, right? So like you have a great laugh or something. So I might
Oh, thank
write.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I might write in one of my stories that a character giggles a certain way. And it's just a little, something that if you read it, you wouldn't even recognize it. But I know that I wrote this because Annette is my friend and I appreciate her. And I just wanted to put a little nod to her in one of my stories, something like that. It just gives me inspiration to see people around me doing great things also, like in voiceover. Watching Josh absolutely smash it and kill it
Mhm.
and voiceover right now, and big shout out to him because he got the thing, like every
Right.
voice actor that has voice acted ever wants to be in mainstream anime, and him and everybody that's in my voiceover click, all of you guys have gotten these amazing opportunities, and watching y'all kill it, it makes me want to get in there and kill it.
Right.
Watching every time I see Brandon post something on Instagram about him doing voiceover, or he'll send me something, is like, hey Chad, you need to do that. He'll send me something about voiceover or whatever, and I smile every time, because it's just it gives me that energy, to want to do it myself and to want to build and to want to be in that arena. So yeah, that's what gives me the inspiration. Everybody, even with like I say, even with STEM, even with
Uh-huh.
science, I have a really good friend right now, man. She is killing it. Like she is killing it in STEM. Like, I mean, one of the smartest engineers I've ever met. My little brother is one of the smartest engineers I've ever
Yeah.
met. My little sister is one of the smartest just scientists, public health scientists I've ever met in my life. So watching them work, seeing how they
Yeah.
do their thing. My mother, she's a herbalist. My mother is
Wow.
one of the smartest people. My dad is one of the smartest people, one of the kindest people I've ever met. Watching how he lives his life and is able to, deal with problems, is able to deal with
Mm.
other people, watching how he converses and works the room.
Right.
All of that stuff feeds me. It gives me that energy. And that's where my inspiration comes from, my surroundings and my wonderful community, because I feel so blessed to have a community of friends and associates and family that just want the best for me, man. I mean, you just cannot buy that, so you guys keep me going, you included. I've been telling everybody this week about this interview. Like, I've been so
Oh,
excited
wow.
about it. Yeah, I'm so excited about it. I've been telling everybody I know. I'm like, hey, I've got this really dope interview coming up, so I can't wait. I'm a little nervous, but we'll see how it goes. So all of that, man, all of it gives me inspiration. So yeah.
Wow. Thank you for that. Yeah.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate you guys. You guys are like family to me. And I don't want to start crying here
You and me
on
both.
the interview.
You and me both.
Oh, oh my goodness. Well, shout out also to your parents because they're the fundamental of foundation for you, and
Oh yeah.
how you do one thing. I was telling my son, how you do one thing is how you do everything, and also a friend I was talking with. So that is true. They are the source of your foundation. So shout out to them.
Big shout out. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So best advice have you ever has anyone ever given to you?
Yeah. So, um, one thing that has so I gave you some advice earlier that my mom always says that put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking out the door, man. As she says that all the time. But I think especially at this point in my life, something that's been very pivotal to me is something
Mhm.
that my dad always says. My dad is such a great human being. Like it's hard to even put into words just like what he means to me, man. Like he's the
Mhm.
man. Like you'll know him because he walks into the room. Every time he walks into the room is like he has sunshine around him. He's the most smilingest dude, like you most kindest like person you would ever meet, man. And he gives such good advice.
Wow.
Such great advice. One of the things that he says all the time is nobody can realize your dreams like you.
Mm.
Which and the way I take that is like, okay, I want to do silly voices for a living. That might sound crazy
Right.
to some people. Or, I want to write stories about, people being scared or scaring people with my writing for a living. To some people, that might sound crazy. And that's okay. Because guess what? It's not those other people's dreams, it's mine. So as long as it's
Right.
important, yeah, as long as it's important to me, that's all that matters. As long as
Right.
it's fulfilling me, that's all that matters. Everybody else will catch up or not, you
Right.
know. But you know, as long as it makes sense to me and I'm happy and I'm living in my truth, in my passion, and like I said, it's my dream,
Right.
that's all that matters. And that advice has helped me in so many areas, because often when you're trying to get something, when you're going towards that goal before you've even gotten close to it, it can seem silly. It's just like, wow,
Right.
what am I doing? I'm spinning my wheels. I'm tired. I don't like, for instance, my doctoral program. When I first started it, I couldn't see the end of the tunnel. I was just like, man, this is crazy. I like I do I even want to still continue to do this? How do I feel about this? And then, my I can hear my dad, he's like, hey man, this is your dream. This is what you want to do. It doesn't matter how anybody else feels about how long it's taken you. You're not
Mhm.
racing anybody. This life is no race. It doesn't matter,
Right.
what kind of, feedback you're getting from the peanut gallery. Get that degree. Get it
Right.
because you want it, and that's all that matters. That's it.
That's so true. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your life, and you gotta, live with your decisions. And
Yeah.
what is it? So Les Brown used to say, "What is the most wealthiest real estate on this planet?" Do you know?
Mm-mm.
Maybe not verbatim in that sense, but the wealthiest real estate is the burial site. It's the graveyard,
Wow.
because all the dreams that people have ever wanted to pursue, they never pursued it. So
Mm.
it's the wealthiest
Yeah.
real estate.
Wow. That's
It
wow.
hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hits a different way when you hear
Yeah.
it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's true, man. That is so true. So, while you have that air in your lungs, man,
Mhm.
because like I said at the beginning of this, I'm very happy in being in STEM. I
Mhm.
am that. I am a scientist. I am a black scientist, black man in STEM. I'm proud of all of this. But there was another part of me that wasn't being fed, and in a way, I was okay with burying that part of me. I was just like,
Right.
I don't think I'll ever get around to this, but I'm perfectly fine at this point living this through other people.
Oh
So
yeah, it's dope.
yeah, yeah, right. So the fact that I'm able to be in the driver's seat of these areas that I fantasized about when I was a child that I never thought would ever come true. It's like I said, it's unbelievable. I'm so fulfilled in every aspect of my life. My cup runs over. I'm fulfilled completely, 100%.
That is so cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you have to be happy because nobody's going to give you your happiness except for you.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So, with that being said, what's next for Dr. Chad Singleton, and what message would you like to give your fans and up and coming voice actors, scientists, podcasters, authors, screenwriters, all that jazz?
Yeah, got you. So, yeah. So as far as I will start off with podcasting. You can always find me and my guys, Marcus, Demetrius, and Joshua, over at our podcast. We record every week. The Square Roundtable podcast. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram. We're always posting stuff, so that's coming up. Like, we're always doing something crazy there. As far as voiceover, I have that newest project that I just did that's circulating right now with Wiseacre Comics, Magnus Jakuda. So that'll be coming out. The actual series should be coming out, not too long from now. So we're just trying to get everybody interested in that. And I have a couple of other pretty cool little things coming out, but you know how those pesky non-disclosure agreements are, right? I
Oh,
don't want to
yeah.
get I don't want to get in trouble, but just to, give you a little, I got a video game project coming out. I'll say it right here. I've officially recorded my first ever major console project for
Oh, wow.
PlayStation. Yeah,
Wow.
so 5 projects, so I'm excited about that.
Yay.
Thank you. And yeah, I got some Marvel and DC stuff coming out with Brandon coming out pretty soon. So can't say too much about that, but we're in the lab. And as far as with writing, yeah, I have you can catch me and all of my colleagues. We're called the Butchered Writers. And our work, we release a monthly horror anthology series called Terror Monthly. And it's all kinds of scary. Anything that you can think of in horror is in there. I mean, we're constantly posting. We have something that comes out every single month. So we're about to put out this month's well, actually no, next month. We're about to drop one in August, so that'll be coming out pretty soon. And you can find all of that stuff like on our website or on Amazon. And as far as Black Lion and Cubs, Hotep announced it not too long ago. We have just dropped a new character called Super Awesome. So
Right.
yeah, so we're very excited about Super Awesome. Great character. I've enjoyed writing for this character. Me and Hotep, like I said, we got that 1-2 punch when it comes to writing and building upon the universe of Black Lion and Cubs. So we're working
Mhm.
hard with building the universe with characters like Mighty Moto and
Uh-huh.
Araya, the Jade Princess. Like, all of these characters have been so unbelievably amazing writing for them and bringing them to life. So we have a bunch of great stuff coming out with those characters. So just be on the lookout for the comics. We have book 1 and 2 that's already out, and pretty soon we'll be releasing the first ever comic book that I've written, which is Black Lion and Cubs Contest of Champions. So I'm very proud of that. I was able to, thank you so much. I was able to write that with Hotep, and that's my first ever comic book that I've published. So I'm really excited. And yeah, and we have the convention coming out. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll be at was the Afro NerdCon coming up on I think August 3rd in Stone Mountain, Georgia. So yeah, that's going to be cool. I'm going to be there with another one of my amazing colleagues, Natasha from Midnight Comics. If any of our viewers and listeners know about Midnight Comics, they are a amazing comic book creators. They make a lot of great content. They're not only in the superhero universe, but they also make manga, and they're just the greatest and friendliest people you ever want to meet. So myself and Natasha will be at Afro NerdCon talking about having voiceover for a career. So, and that's basically, and I got some other stuff coming out with Hotep and all that, but I don't need him, beating me up or nothing. So
Right.
I ain't gonna talk about nothing. I'm gonna be quiet. But that's all I can talk about for right now.
Right. Don't get in trouble now.
Right. I'm not trying to get in trouble.
Oh my goodness. Well, is there anything else you would like to say to the audience before we close?
Yes, definitely. Just thank you, Annette. Thank you all, for having me. Anybody that's watched this podcast over the course of this hour and a half, this is one of the first podcast platforms that I've been able to come on and talk about everything I've been doing since the inception of me being in voiceover and writing. So the fact that I kind of got to lay it all out there for the first time is such an amazing honor. So yeah, to everybody out there, I love you guys, everybody, y'all are my fam, so reach out, definitely, say, hey, we can nerd it out, talk about whatever. But thank you, Annette, thank you In the Know 360. Thank you so much, the BLC community, everybody. Thank you. This has been an honor.
Wow, that's so wonderful. Well, thank you. And be sure to subscribe, like, and comment to view all the episodes here on NNO 360. We're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, I think Google Play, and a whole bunch of other
Whole bunch of
platforms
places. Yeah.
right here. And also tap in with Dr. Chad Singleton. I'm saying doctor because we're getting this doctoral.
Oh yeah, it's happening. It's happening. It's already done. It's there.
Right, exactly. And also, please let's continue to support the Unity for Social Justice. Let's free Massayo and all our brothers and sisters out here that need our support. Hold tight, sir. And this has been a broadcast of showing love full circle between NNL 360 and Dr. Chad Singleton. We're
Yes,
out.
sir. We are out.